Hi, Andy Excel back with episode 23 of my State of the Franchise addresses as I go through all 32 teams from bottom to top as they finished last season. So, this is another NFXL XL podcast, obviously, and it's looking at the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Eagles managed to retain their NFC title but lost their status as both Super Bowl and NFC champions last season. In their title winning season, they had the second ranked defense in the league and the number two run offense too on the back of Saquon Barkley's superb season. But last season, the Eagles were ninth ranked for defense and a lowly 24th against the run. Barkley and the run offense also slipped back to 16th. Barkley had 2,283 scrimmage yards and 15 touchdowns in 2024, which went down to 1,413 yards and 9 scores last season. So roughly two-thirds of the production he had the previous year. So down by a third, a huge amount. Jalen Hurts also had 630 yards and 14 touchdowns in 2024, which dropped to 421 yards and 8 scores last season. So people managed to deal with the tush push a bit better, but also you wonder about that O line off the back of both of those states. So the Eagles lost key members of that O line and their D line after winning it all in 2024. And that has to be a key reason why they dropped off from those levels in 2025. So, what do they need to do this off-season to first retain their divisional title in a division that looks like it will be much stronger all round next season, and then to make a deep postseason run? Let's go through it position by position. Quarterback, nothing much to say here. Jalen Hurts will continue at quarterback, and Tanner McKee will back him up. There is job done. Running backs. Saquon Barkley and Tank Bigsby will also remain as the Eagles' principal running backs next season. Job done. Wide receiver. A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith both had 1,000-yard seasons and combined for 11 touchdowns last season. Brown seemed unsettled and unhappy with his role last term, and unsurprisingly, increasing trade rumours are surfacing regarding him, especially as the Eagles are not in a great cap position and he would free up some cap space. If that comes to pass, then he will certainly need to be replaced, and the Eagles pretty much had no wide receiver last season. The guy who was nominally that was Jahan Dotson, who is now a free agent, which could all mean the Eagles could be looking for wide receiver help this season, certainly to replace upgrade on Dotson and possibly to replace Brown too. At tight end, Dallas Goedert put up decent yardage, but his 11 touchdowns were a great effort. He is a free agent they will surely prioritise re-signing, with his backups Grant Calcaterra and Kyler Granson both hitting free agency. A low-level move or two to replace one or both of Calcaterra and Granson might be on the cards too. Right, the O-line. The decline in the running game was the biggest issue for this O-line. They were still strong in terms of pass protection. Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson were both ranked in the top 20 tackles by PFF, and Johnson's indicated he's back for another year. Cam Jurgens was okay at centre, but he certainly wasn't Jason Kelsey, who's been a big miss. He's a bit like Frank Ragnow for the Lions. Losing Kelsey for the Eagles has just been a big hurdle for them to overcome. Tyler Steen was a top 20 guard, and Landon Dickerson did okay. So on the basis of it, it looks all right. But Johnson missed 7 games last season, and like I say, he's 35 now. He is talking to coming back for another year, but drafting a tackle would make sense as insurance against another injury and as a potential long-term successor. With depth guys Fred Johnson, Brett Toth, and Matt Pryor all hitting free agency, re-signing or replacing them should be looked at too. As I say, the personnel looks good, so maybe it was not all on them that the running game did not fire. Maybe it was just down to a down year after a heavy workload for Barkley the previous season, and they'll hope he'll come back more refreshed for the next campaign. At defensive tackle, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter continued here for the Eagles, with Byron Young and Ty Robinson backing them up. But the loss of Milton Williams was certainly felt here, another significant loss from their championship winning team. All four of the current defensive tackle crop are either 24 or 25, so they're a young group that may well have plenty of improvement to come with added experience. This, therefore, looks like a position the Eagles may not be active in this off-season. Edge rushers. The Eagles had 42 sacks last season, pretty much the same number as the preceding season. Jalix Hutt, Maura Jomo, Nolan Smith, and Brandon Graham combined for 18 and a half of those sacks, with Jalen Phillips adding another two after he joined mid-season from Miami. Phillips is now a free agent and will be costly to re-sign, but having gone after him mid last season, it would be a surprise if the Eagles do not retain his services. Brandon Graham is the other free agent from this group, but apart from re-signing one or both of those free agents, the Eagles may stick with what they have for next season in terms of pass rushers, although they lack an elite edge rusher who can get them double-digit sacks. So if they can find one of them by the draft, maybe, they may well go after them. Inside linebacker, Nakobe Dean and Jack Bourne, plus last year's first round pick Jahad Campbell, gave the Eagles an excellent trio of inside linebackers last season. Dean's now a free agent, and given Campbell's performance last season, he could be a cap casualty. So adding a replacement via this year's draft could be on the cards. At safety, rookie Andrew McCuber and Reed Blankenship were the Eagles' starting safeties last season. They were okay, but neither excelled. Blankenship is now a free agent. Even if they re-sign him, the Eagles may add another safety in the draft. So they've got to use their draft picks well. And let's have a look what they've got in the draft. Is it pretty standard? Picks 23, 54. They picked up an extra one off the Jets in early round 3 at 68. But gave up their 87th pick, so that kind of balances off. I think they're going to get a compensatory one at 98, so two in the third round, early and late, and they've got their fourth round pick and a compensatory as well. So they've got a fair amount. They've got like 6 picks in the first 4 rounds, so they've got a bit of ammunition to use there. Cornerback. Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell both made the Pro Bowl, so the Eagles have 2 elite corners for sure. Adoree Jackson was the other starter last season, is now a free agent, so the Eagles may well look to get even stronger in this area via an early draft pick. Special teams. The Eagles look to have their kick returners back for next season in the form of Will Shipley, Xavier Gibson, and Britton Covey, I should say. Jake Elliott made only 18 field goals beyond 40 yards, and he could well be let go this offseason as a result, so they might be looking for a kicker. Punter Braden Mann had a strong season, but is a free agent, so the Eagles will likely re-sign him. So let's sum it up. What do they need? Wide receiver, especially if Brown leaves, an elite edge rusher, another cornerback, an inside linebacker. They look to be their primary needs. Then maybe a safety and a new kicker. But they have got the offense. But they have got the offense, got to get the offense firing on all cylinders again next season. Sorry, I couldn't read my own script. So a bounce back from a refreshed Saquon Barkley may be their biggest need, as well as getting the wide receiver group sorted and getting even stronger in terms of pass rushing at cornerback. Could get them into contention to win it all again next season. Plenty of buts and ifs at this stage, though. So this is a big off-season for Philly if they want to get back to the top. Like I say, they've not got a huge amount of cap space, but they do have draft capital with those 6 picks. So how they use those 6 picks may be fundamental to their chances for next season. Right, that wraps it up for the Eagles. Next, I move on to the final team who don't have a first round draft pick, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'll cover them next. See you soon.